So watch for that. Again, brake parts on the 74 and 5s is getting hard to find, especially the 8-lug stuff that is non-existent anymore. So tough to get at. The rear axle stuff is super available, but that 8-lug front disc brake parts are very hard to get nowadays. They're just, and then you got some typical pickup stuff, is how beat up is the bed? Is the tailgate all cracked and broke out? If it doesn't have a tailgate, look around, see if you can find one. They're also getting very hard to find. Good tailgates are bringing top dollar nowadays. So if your heart is set on having a complete D series with a tailgate, you might want to factor that into your budget. The motors, international engines, most of the parts are still available. There's some hit or miss availability depending on what time of the year it is when you're looking for stuff, but most of that stuff's still available. So don't let people convince you that the international engine is a bad platform just because they couldn't find a certain part. We build trucks all year long with IH engines, and we have great results. You put a Holley Sniper on them and an aluminum fuel tank that we sell, and you're good for years. So, don't let the international engine scare you away. That being said, if it has a quality LS swap, like in a Scout 2, this LS swap with an overdrive auto, it's worth looking at. Again, that helps the drivability, helps them go down the road better with better economy. So depending on the quality of the swap, because I have seen some garbage LS swaps that guys just tried to hurry up so they could try to get top dollar for, and it doesn't always work out. So keep that in mind. Maybe have a mechanic check over the Scout or the truck before you purchase it, just to look for stuff that you're not used to looking for, like, broken shock bolts or parking brake cables that are stretched out or frayed, or, things like that. And then finally, we'll go backwards into the old trucks, 30s, 40s, 50s. They all have the same problems back then, rust, floor rust, cab rust. And then the old 6-cylinder engine parts are non-existent. You're finding NOS stuff or old engine warehouse stuff that, dusty boxes that maybe were buried in the back. So the mid-50s 6-cylinder stuff, some of it's still available, but again, you're hunting for pistons and rings. So keep that in mind. The 50s trucks they had the overdrive option, which is cool, and the half ton. So you'd have the 3 on the column with the overdrive option, push button overdrive on the dash. That's a neat feature. If you find one of those, definitely factor that into your purchase. The 50s IH trucks are they're their own animal. They were the first factory 4-wheel drives that, all the other manufacturers were using Napco and those things, where International went right with the Dana Spicer axles and in the 3/4 tons starting in 57. So, when you're looking at one of those S120s in the 56 S120s, keep that in mind, that those brake parts are pretty obsolete, but, they are the first of the factory 4-wheel drive, so that has some value. But otherwise, they were all 6-volt until 57. So, these guys will do 12-volt conversion, which is not just putting in a 12-volt battery. There's some other stuff that has to go into that, and if they didn't do it, you're looking at fried sending units or cooked generators or messed up gauges. So keep that in mind also if someone has done a 12-volt conversion and they really just put a 12-volt battery in, because it will do damage in the long term. So that's really about it for things to look for in the internationals. Just use your common sense, look at stuff. If something doesn't seem right, sales guy's pushy, don't fall for the fact that it's coming from a broker or some big name reseller. those guys don't know much about them either. They're just out to make money. So, really take everything with a grain of salt when they're giving you the specs, and really check it out yourself. But yeah, that's the best I can tell you. Those were the big beats, the high points to look out for. So we'll finish it up there. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate you guys following along. Feel free to like, subscribe, donate to Patreon, subscribe on Instagram. Every dollar helps. These things aren't free to produce. They cost me money to make. So, I appreciate you guys' donations and subscriptions and shares and likes, and it all helps to keep these things on the road. So, that being said, I appreciate you guys, and until next time, I'm Dan from Binder Boneyard.